everyone, and welcome to Essential Oil Truths. My name is Stacey Haluka, the co-author of The Unspoken Truth About Essential Oils, and today I have an amazing guest with me all the way from New Zealand, Gillian Parkinson. Welcome, Gillian.
Hi, wonderful to be here.
Thank you so much for doing this. Gillian is a clinical Aromascience practitioner, and she has also earned or has her certification, I guess, from the International Federation of Professional Aromatherapists. She has been practicing for how many years, Gillian?
10 years now.
10 years now. She has her own company called Lavender.
Yes.
Yes, and you do a lot of your own formulations and all of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
thanks so much for joining us today, Gillian. I know you have a wealth of information and so many topics to talk about. So today we're going to be talking about just the unqualified influencers out there who are teaching people how to use essential oils, who are promoting essential oils. And by that, the unqualified influencers, I'm talking about doctors out there who are actually chiropractors, but using their doctor names, and even those who are in the MLMs that believe that they're qualified because they've taken the education from the company.
Yes.
Right, they've done their own training, which is something that I did, and I thought, hey, I was qualified. So today, that's what we're going to be talking about, and then we're going to be talking about what it actually means to be qualified and what happens in a consultation and how in depth that goes. So we're going to have a lot of great information here today so that you can understand the difference of what it really means to be qualified. So Gillian, please take the floor.
Thank you. So in New Zealand, we have courses that are recognised by our New Zealand Qualifications Authority. So that means that the course material has to pass that, but that adds strength to our qualification. So I studied the Certificate of Aromascience through Aromatherapist in New Zealand 10 years ago. And my study was minimum 770 hours. So it took me almost 2 years to finish my qualification. There was lots and lots of case studies. I must have been at least 100 case studies. We weren't allowed to practice on anyone for the first 6 months. And then when we did, they had to be ourselves and family members only. And then as time went by, we had case studies visit us. I had to have 5 a week, every week. And every week I had to record my findings, what I did, and it all was documented and marked by our tutors. So there were assignments, and then at the end of it, an exam. I was lucky enough when I was studying to have a mentor as well who had been qualified a few years ahead of me. So I found that hugely invaluable.
Yeah.
Mm.
And when you think about, you said 770 hours you had to study.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've heard, there's different schools in the United States, Canada, and all the way around the world, but the bottom number that I've heard is 500 hours.
Yeah. For New Zealand, it was more, so I don't mind.
No, I'm just saying that, compared to those who are the unqualified influencers, is what I'm saying is,
Yes.
in order to understand clinical aromatherapy, you need to study at least 500, 770 hours and onwards and upwards from that, like you were mentioning earlier about the aromatic medicine.
Yes.
How many hours?
Aromatic medicine is quite a different field in regards to this. The study is for 4 years. The information that I got this from was Debbie Atterby in Australia, who's an aromatic medicine practitioner, and she runs a college. She explained that these students have to observe for the first 2 years, and then it's not until really their final year that they're actually allowed to join consultations and have an input. Mostly it's observation and practice. And aromatic medicine means aromatic means that you're allowed to prescribe ingestion if there is a need for it. So Debbie gave a really good example of what happens in a consultation. So if someone comes in, let's say, for example, someone's got an infection that they just cannot get rid of. Even antibiotics haven't touched it. So Debbie will put them through a consultation, and she'll want their complete life health history. She wants to know how much they weigh, how tall they are, whether they smoke, whether they take recreational drugs, whether they, how much alcohol they drink. Really, really importantly, what medications that they're on, any recent surgeries or any surgeries. And then if she feels that there is a need for internal use, specific essential oils will be chosen, correctly diluted, capsules are made. They may take 1 to 3 a day for up to 5 days, and then that's it.
And that's it.
That is it. Now, the reason why medication is needed to know, what medication they're taking is because essential oils can either speed up, slow down, or dilute the metabolism of the medication, the way the medication works. So it's vital that a lay person does not ingest essential oils, as you know.
Absolutely. And as you were talking and saying how they need 4 years, I thought, when I first joined doTERRA, I had spent about 3 or 4 months learning their curriculum, and thought I was qualified, thought that I could go out and teach people how to use these things, that they could drink them all day, and I was learning all this information from the company that is just extremely dangerous. And to know, you are a clinical Aromascience practitioner, and you are not even allowed to prescribe internal
not in New
use.
Zealand, no. And that's because we don't have the course material to study here. If I wanted to do that, I'd have to go to Australia. But because we don't have a regulation, and our regulatory body in New Zealand doesn't allow us to prescribe anyway. So that's how tight it is. I mean, as you know, our industry isn't regulated by the governments, but we're regulated by our industry bodies that we belong to, like the International Federation of Professional Aromatherapists or the Alliance of International Aromatherapists. And if I started willy-nilly telling people to ingest this, put this in your cooking and use it this way, I'd have my qualifications stripped of me and I wouldn't be allowed to practice. So that's how serious it is. So you can imagine that when we see constantly on social media unqualified resellers and telling you to put it in this food and drink it in this and add it to the smoothie and just take it for this, take drops just in case. And I've spoken to somebody that was taking copaiba once a day just in case she got a headache, and the days she got a headache, take 5 drops. And this is the stuff I know that just makes my stomach churn, because it's saying things to sell things and a profit at all cost. That's my opinion.
It is, and that is the bottom line, and especially with the MLMs. I mean, their bottom line is the bottom line. That's something that I always say. That's all they want you to do is use more oil, so you sell more oils and you're spending more money. But at the end of the day, I know firsthand what can happen to somebody.
Yes, your book made me cry when I read it. On page 7.
I still sometimes cry when I think about it, to be honest. Like it was just life-changing for me. And it's not just for me. There are so many people out there who have been injured seriously, maybe not as bad as me, and there are some worse than me. And to just see people willy-nilly posting these concoctions on Pinterest with no qualifications whatsoever, and not knowing if someone's on medications, or not knowing their health history, or not knowing pregnant or babies and animals, and it's just, to me, I feel like it's got to stop. If this is one thing that I could change, it would be to stop that.
Yes. Well, I did try for quite some time to get in touch with the health minister in New Zealand to talk about this. unfortunately, he wasn't prepared to see me. And as you know, we have probably the best Prime Minister in the world, Jacinda Ardern. My goal is to talk to her one day. We have a new health minister now who seems a lot more compassionate and empathetic. So I want to be able to talk to them and just give them the facts.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's not about brand bashing or anything. It's giving them facts.
And that's exactly it. It's not about putting you down if you sell an MLM brand, or putting you down if you think you're doing good. And I've said this all along, like, I believe in the power of essential oils. I believe in their healing powers, but I also believe in their harm.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I believe that those who are selling them are doing them for the purpose of, they believe they're doing something good, without understanding how dangerous it could be. Like, we're talking, there have been deaths recorded. So
and sometimes they're not equating them either. You know, someone might take their child to the pharmacist and say, my son's got a rash, we don't know what, and they start going down the allergic route of perhaps food or nuts. The questions that pharmacists need to ask is, are you using essential oils?
Yes.
And that education needs to get out there too.
Absolutely, because even the doctors I was going to, the emergency room I went to, and it wasn't until I started going to the allergy specialist where essential oils even came up.
Yeah. Wow. And you had to go through all that pain first. See, the big problem is that the MLMs don't follow the best practice methods or code of ethics of the qualified community. And this is a worldwide. So as an aromatherapist, we're allowed to treat via various inhalation methods. And that could be through the diffuser, straight from the bottle, steam inhalation, or topical use. And then, of course, they've got to be appropriately diluted. And that depends on the age, depends on what part of the body you're treating, it depends on what you're treating. So, you know, there's so much to it, and this is what the MLMs don't follow, and they get away with it, unfortunately.
And it's really, what really hurts me as well is that I see these unqualified influencers such as, you know, Dr.Z on the Netflix series Unwell essential oil episode, which I was a part of as well.
And I was pacing when I was watching that.
He's giving his children essential oils to drink every day, but yet he has followings of thousands and thousands of people, and he sells essential oil training courses.
Yeah.
He is going against everything. And he's going against everything that I understand is proper education of essential oils. So how do we rectify stuff like that? We can't.
No.
There's nothing we can do.
It's information like this that's shared, because as you know, it's not even worth trying to comment on any of their social media posts, because they manipulate the conversation anyway, and delete our comments and block us and make themselves sound really professional and knowledgeable, educated. And the public believe it, sadly. Yeah.
Well, I know even in one video I was watching a couple of years ago now, 2-3 years ago, one of Dr. Hill's videos, and he stated right in the video, there's really no wrong way to use essential oils. And I went, no, like, what do you mean? He's the chief medical officer of doTERRA. He's a chiropractor, and people listen to him. Like, he is an influencer. People listen to him, and he is stating such things like this.
It's like the woman that started essential oils in New Zealand, Dr. Martha Nestler. She's a chiropractor who doesn't have certification to practice in New Zealand chiropractic, but so she's into doTERRA, and she did a story on Instagram chugging back a bottle of Melissa. Now, you know how expensive Melissa is for a start, but that's what she was doing. I am skeptical whether there was actually essential oils in the bottle. It might have just been water.
Yes.
Because the other thing that people don't realize too or understand is you got a reaction. You got reactions quite quickly, didn't you? It was months.
Yes. Yeah.
And some people have been saying, I've been doing this for years and I have had no effect yet. They don't know what damage they're doing to their kidneys and their liver and their gallbladder. I've had someone that had gallbladder damage from ingesting lemon essential oil in water, drinking, just 1 drop a day, but she did it for so long and she got gallbladder damage. So
I had a friend of mine as well who was drinking the essential oil lemon every day in her water, and she had gone to the dentist a few months later. It wasn't even that long ago, and he said, "What have you been doing? You're ruining the enamel on your teeth."
well, yeah. Well, it lifts paint, lemon essential oil.
Right?
It makes paint bubble.
Yeah.
So imagine what it's doing to the gut. And the other thing that concerns me is we now know that there are transmitters in the gut, the same as transmitters in the brain. What damage are we doing to those?
Mhm.
So, there's still a lot of stuff we don't know. And we're going to learn the hard way, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes.
Mm.
We,
As you know, my biggest concern, sorry?
unfortunately, yes, and some people have.
Yes. But as you know, my hugest concern are the babies and the children.
I agree.
Yeah. So what a lot of people don't understand is that their systems are so immature, and we're talking about immune system, central nervous system, their lungs, kidneys, gut. They're so immature, they can only handle the most minute amount. They get very overwhelmed very quickly, but people aren't relating the two. They're not relating giving on guard in their water to their child now having irritable bowel syndrome. So, there's, and yeah,
Or
lots of
simply
horror
like
stories.
some moms also will diffuse lavender beside the bed all night because they
I
think it's
know.
going to help them sleep, and they do this every single night. And then they're diffusing other kinds of essential oils in the house as well.
Yeah,
Excuse me, and they're just inundating their children.
yeah, overwhelming them, and then they go to daycare and they're being diffused in daycare all day.
And there's sometimes where a child can all of a sudden be hyperactive or
Yes,
reclusive or just
yes,
have different emotional states that weren't there before. And never mind even
absolutely.
talking about the internal damage or anything that's showing visibly, but then the parents are giving them, more essential oils because they're now
Try and calm them down. Yes, yeah.
and
You touched on a really good point about using lavender all night in the bedroom. Another unknown fact is that a lot of people don't know which lavender species they're using that's suitable for children. So there's several lavenders. There's lavandin, intermediate X, lavender grosso, and then, of course, lavandula angustifolia, which is safest for children. The others have got harsher chemicals in them that aren't suitable for children. They're suitable for maybe once they're over 2 years old and then used appropriately. But that's, and the same with eucalyptus. How many different eucalyptus species are there? So that they are facts that people, that the unqualified don't know, that the qualified know, and we have to be aware of constantly. So yeah,
I agree. And it's just the repetition of putting this into people's heads of just do your research,
yeah,
find a qualified aromatherapist to work with.
yeah,
Don't be willy-nilly with essential oils. You usually don't need essential oils for everyday
no,
use. It's not recommended for everyday use by those who are
use for
qualified.
a purpose when there is a need.
Right.
That is it.
And I always say, because this is what I've been taught now, is you need to treat essential oils like medicine.
Yes.
Would you go to your doctor and get a medicine and take it home without him telling you what it's for or how to use it or how
Yeah.
long to use it, but you would just start taking it because you think you should take it 10 times a day?
Yeah. and what the side effects could be
Right.
even.
Right.
So,
So
yeah, I know. And, you don't take cough syrup just in case you might get a cough.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Or a Panadol just in case you might get a headache.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
But that's my biggest chant is only use essential oils for a purpose when there is a need. You would imagine, with aromatherapists, we have to be very, very careful because, for me, I'm using them every day, making
Yeah.
blends, I fulfill online orders daily. I have to be so careful what I use myself that I don't overuse because, and I do know that if I have a large order and it's taken me 2 to 3 hours to do, I have to have the windows open. And then after 3 hours, I've had enough. I've got to stop, get out of my room, be in fresh air. And then I don't want to have anything to do with them for at least the next day, So,
there were also women who had contacted me who were making soaps and bath bombs, and they had no idea that, again, they had this rash, had no idea where it came from, but
yeah,
because they have found me and the information in my original video and so on, they are now taking precautions because they're like making soaps and bath bombs and all these other things
yeah,
all day
all
long.
the
They
time.
never ever
Mm.
thought it could be the
Yeah.
essential oils. So we are making a
They're
difference.
inhaling them.
Yes. Yeah.
It's passive, but they're still inhaling them.
Yes.
I mean, you can smell my studio. People have told me they can smell my studio from the street.
I bet. Yes. But
Yeah,
you can't because you're in it all the time.
yeah,
Your
that's right.
olfactory system doesn't work after so long. You just can't smell it anymore, but it's still there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
So
thank you, Gillian, for joining us today. I know we
thank
have
you for having
so many
me.
more topics that we're going to touch on and talk about. There, I mean, just like Dr. Joy, as my interview was with her, you're both such a wealth of knowledge, and I can't wait to talk to you both some more. So thank you,
Thank
Gillian.
you.
Have a beautiful day back there in New Zealand. You're just starting your day as I'm winding down on mine over here. So thank you for
Yeah.
yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Remember to like this video, subscribe to this channel for more information and more videos like this, and have a
They can
beautiful
ask
day.
me questions if they like in the
Yes,
comments.
of
I'm
course.
happy to
Post a
answer.
comment below, ask
Yeah.
questions, and she's the right person to ask. So thank you very
Thank
much.
you.